This is Synthesis TV, keeping you on the edge of technology and business.
A very good day to you. I'm Howard Feldman, and this is an episode of Synthesis TV. Joining me in studio today is Cuda Malinga. So who is he? Well, he's a senior category manager at AWS, Amazon Web Services, Marketplace, Sub-Saharan Africa. Cuda, very good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning to you. Very good, very good, very good. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about the AWS Marketplace.
Okay, so let's pretend that I'm not deeply knowledgeable, which I'm actually not.
Well, let's change that.
Exactly. So for anybody listening, what is the AWS Marketplace? Why do we need it in the world?
It's a question that has been asked several times, right? But it's very simple. It's a curated digital catalog,
okay,
right? Where customers can find, buy, deploy third-party software that is built on AWS infrastructure.
So it's not for me to come and buy a laptop.
No.
It's not that kind of a marketplace. This is curated software that has been built on AWS, on Amazon Web Services, utilizing their technology.
100%. And you raise a very important point because, one, it's important to break that definition down, right?
Okay.
It's a digital catalog. So you don't come to the AWS offices physically. You log on online.
Please,
I've been asked
do not
that
arrive
question.
there. Do not arrive there. Right.
Yeah. Secondly, we only sell software,
right?
Subscription-based software.
Okay.
So no hardware, no laptops, no desktops, purely software. Third important thing to note is we sell third-party software. So we don't sell AWS software. It's third-party software that is built on
utilizing
AWS.
Correct.
Right. Correct.
Okay. So give me an example of a customer. What does a run-of-the-mill customer look like?
Oh, it starts from your SOHO,
right.
Your small office, home office kind of a business, all the way to your multinational.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a full range. I don't need to be a technology expert in order to go to Marketplace. I obviously need to have some kind of an understanding, but
100%.
We'll just judge you if you don't. No, because you can't live in this world today.
No,
anymore.
you can't. You can't.
So,
it's designed really for a soft touch, right? Non-high tech sort of people targeting procurement,
right?
That's supply chain, right? So it's literally designed for you to find, click, deploy.
Amazing.
That's how simple it is.
And would it explain it to the business owner, the person in the business that understands where the business is going, or would it be for the IT person in the business? Well, obviously it's for the IT person anyway, but would it also be for somebody who wanted to utilize the software to enable their business?
So again, a very good question. Because if we take a few steps back, right, you'll find that we might still be in the knowledge economy right now, right? Where customers are well versed with what they want, when they want it, how they want it, right? And obviously that's related to the whole availability of information, the internet, etc. So when you look at the procurement processes or the buying centers now in organizations, traditionally they would be centered for technology, they would be centered around an IT manager.
Right.
But that's changed now.
Finally,
of the knowledge.
Finally it's changed.
It's changed.
No, it needed to change because actually, it's my own personal philosophy on this. I'm going to bore you with this, but I think it's important because the perception, I think, was created often that technology is for technology people. But in fact, we're missing the most important thing, that we don't employ technology for technology's sake. We employ it to make our businesses scalable, cheaper, more efficient, provide better customer services. We employ technology for business sake, not for technology's sake.
Correct.
So that shift is so important that people that business owners or people who aren't necessarily experts in technology need to be able to understand which technologies are going to assist them to further their business goals.
That's so true. That's so true. So only a marketing person would know what technology would help their business,
Right.
if you think about it.
Right.
An HR person,
Yes.
a finance
Yes.
person.
Yes.
And you're getting to a stage where, well, not getting, we are at that stage where a marketing person will know that I need a CRM to capture all my customers and know exactly what they're doing, what I've done for them, what the gap is, right?
Right.
They would go to a marketplace, or they would go to a procurement department and say, this is what I want, right? And this is when I want it. And the beauty with marketplace with subscription as well is that it allows you to use the product, what you need at a given time, and doesn't tie you down to long-term contracts.
Oh, I
it
see.
gives you that flexibility, right? And also it gives you the flexibility of paying for the product. It gives you the ability to experiment with new products because you can have free trials without necessarily committing yourself, right? So it's geared, that whole marketplace, it's geared to make the whole procurement or supply chain experience seamless and enjoyable.
Because otherwise it's quite overwhelming for a company. You know, they're saying, look, we need a CRM or we need something. Right. Where do we go? No, you know, otherwise you start, searching it and you don't know where you're going with it. So here you know that the product is a good product. Yeah. Are the third-party vendors qualified? Or can, how does somebody become a vendor on Marketplace?
Yeah. So so it's good to define who these vendors are and how they look like. So Marketplace has not changed any of these vendors. We also call them ISVs, or independent software vendors.
Okay.
Right? So that
independent software vendors, ISVs. Write that down because we're going to use ISVs later. You're not going to know what we're talking about. I should write it down. Anyway. Right. So ISVs.
So ISVs or sellers, and we'll interchange on what we call them, right? So these are the traditional sellers that that you've normally bought from, outside of the marketplace. Right. All the top name brands in technology are those ISVs, right? I mean, we could throw in quite a few names out there if we wanted, right? From all the security vendors.
Including Synthesis.
Synthesis, 100%. I mean, in fact, drilling down on Synthesis, because if we look at the marketplace setup, right? You have that ISV or your seller, then you have your buyer. That's your end user, right? Normally, the end user just needs a product that will solve a business problem, right? They don't have the time, the desire to go and search and, do all the nitty-gritties to get to that product. This is what I want it now. And that's a knowledge-based, customer. And this is where Synthesis would come into play, right? Because Synthesis is really a reseller. They have multiple skill sets, right? Part of those skill sets being reselling, right? And throughout the years, they've built this IP of a relationship with end customers. They know what those customers want. They know what those customers need. And that's created or put them in a position as a trusted advisor in that space.
Right. So this actually benefits everybody along the way.
Totally.
It benefits AWS because they access the touch point with the end user through these vendors. Yes. It assists the vendors because they are given a platform that they wouldn't necessarily have with the AWS credibility and brand behind it. 100%. And of course, for the end consumer, it's very valuable because they know that what they're looking at is a quality product, quality vendors, and they can find what they need without worrying about all of those other concerns.
100%.
So it's actually an incredibly powerful tool. Tell me, how long has Marketplace been around?
Just over 10 years.
Okay.
We've just hit the teenage stage, right?
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been around, slightly over 10 years. I believe we celebrated our 10-year anniversary sometime last year.
Right.
It's obviously still rolling out in our market, right? In sub-Saharan Africa, we're still going through creating the whole awareness, of what it can do, right? Why it's beneficiary to you as a customer, to you as a seller, to you as a reseller. And that's why our partnership with organizations like Synthesis is so important, right? Because they are early adopters of technologies. They saw where the market was going and they embraced the marketplace.
Right.
And with that knowledge and our partnership together, they've been able to go out, create that awareness with end users, enable end users. And now you find that the adoption of a marketplace first strategy by end users is growing at a tremendous pace. So yes, still early in age in our region, but really we're seeing the traction, right? Initially, we saw a lot of that traction from the enterprise, right?
Okay.
The bigger guys with the bigger spend, right? We saw a lot of traction, but then again, with working with Synthesis, we've been able to also attract the sort of mid-market SMB segment. But what's interesting is that we've seen also this explosion in procurement through marketplace from the SOHO, the micro SMB.
That's interesting.
And there are reasons for that.
Tell me why.
There's no need to invest in any infrastructure. It reduces your cost.
It's true.
It's literally know what you want.
Yeah.
You log in, find it, and you use it. And when you don't need it, and the payment is flexible. So we have the SaaS payment, right? Software as a service, where you will use what you want, what you need, and pay for that.
So it's got an incredible amount of built-in flexibility that takes these common concerns into account.
Yeah. And one of the things when you procure, right, is you have added sort of expenses like creating contracts. You need legal teams. You have to risk assess. You already alluded that the products in marketplace are curated, right? So there's the confidence that they will do what they say they'll do, right? So we do all these risk assessments on behalf of our customers, pre-risk assess them, right? We have features like standard contracts that are in the market.
Right. So it actually saves so much of that energy.
Time. Yeah.
So much
and money.
And the things that business owners hate, which is that admin. And I actually don't want to leave the studio without hearing a little bit about you. Tell me about your journey.
So, it's been an interesting one. So I'm born and bred in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Right. But I view myself as a global citizen.
Oh, I like that. Very nice.
I schooled in South Africa. Part of my schooling was in South Africa. Part was overseas, in the UK. And my focus has been on business. Okay. Right. I've worked for different multinationals, right? Based in the UK, based in Kenya, spent a lot of time in Kenya covering that whole East Africa market. And now I'm with AWS, right? And I've always worked in selling technologies either directly or indirectly. Yeah, and building channels, right?
So there's a perfect fit for you.
Oh yeah, love it.
It like hits all of the
markers, right?
All of the, exactly, It really does. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm fascinated about because you're very clearly passionate about this, and that passion comes through. So I was just trying to understand, a little bit about you to know, why it does that, but it does make sense.
It does. I mean, and why I love the marketplace now is because it's an opportunity. It's lowered a lot of barriers to entry.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So you'll find that the smaller businesses, the guy who's always wanted to get in there, but those entry barriers, they prevented him or her from getting in there. These have been lowered now by the marketplace, and so you find the playing. It's leveled the playing field, right? Small SOHO businesses are able to compete effectively with big enterprise businesses. And that opens up the market. And it can only enhance the experience of the customer, which is really the focus.
Yeah, we actually unfortunately are out of time. But before I let you go, what is the most exciting part for you about this AWS Marketplace?
Yeah. So it gives our customers an exposure to a plethora of software, even from providers who are not necessarily resident in South Africa or in Africa, right? Because it's a digital
global.
catalog.
Absolutely.
And it's global. You are able to utilize any software that you want from the comfort of your office or your lounge, right? In flexible terms that are suitable to your needs.
Did you write the infomercial? You might as well. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Cuda Malinga chatting to me. He is a senior category manager, AWS Marketplace, Sub-Saharan Africa. Now you understand what it is. I certainly do. If you have any questions, reach out to us. In the comments below, you can reach out to us at info@synthesis. You can certainly reach out to AWS, hear more and get more information about this. I think it's an incredible opportunity for the whole range of potential for vendors, for customers, for anybody looking to improve their business. It is about business. It's not simply about technology. And I think that's a distinction that I think is important and that we discussed here today. I'm Howard Feldman. This has been an episode of Synthesis TV.